is a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
Welcome to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Overcast day. This is Honda Race Day, and normally we've been giving you about a 30-minute pre-race, but the threatening weather, IndyCar officials have decided to step on the gas, and what we're going to do is get this race started immediately. In the Honda two-seater, it's Honda's fastest seat in sports sweepstakes, and it's back. Go to shophonda.com, sign up for your chance to start a race in the Izod IndyCar two-seater, and that one, it could be driven by Mario Andretti. Today, it's Al Unser Jr. and the guy who's lucky enough from Indiana, Steve Mino. There he is. He's going to lead the field. He lives in New Palestine. He's going to get the ride of his life. Marty Raitt, Scott Goodyear with you topside as we get ready to go racing. Let's check in down on pit road. First up is Rick DeBrule.
Well, Marty, if the other teams were looking for a sign of weakness out of Dario Franchitti coming to this new track, well, they've been disappointed so far. He's qualified on the pole, the 26th of his career, and that pole moves him into 9th on the all-time list past Paul Tracy. And after the morning warm-up, I asked him, how's the car doing? Of all the drivers I talked to, he's the only one who told me just fine. I don't think that's a good sign for everybody else. Jamie Little?
Well, Rick, this is the first time IndyCar has returned to New Hampshire in 13 years. The winner of the last race, none other than Tony Stewart driving for John Menard. Now, one thing is certain today. We will see a new face in victory lane. Not one single driver has ever raced here before, and there's a lot of drivers desperate for a win.
And our pole sitter, best view of the house, Dario Franchitti, and you notice he has selected driver's right, so he is going to be on the outside heading into turn number 1. Pace car lights are off, and they head into turn number 3. The progressive banking that Scott mentioned, the sharpest point is 7 degrees. Down on the bottom, it's so flat the guys say they cannot run there. Coming out of turn number 4, the Izod IndyCar Series from New Hampshire is green. Trouble in the corner as they come out of turn number 2. The 27 of Mike Conway collects Graham Rahal. The one thing Graham was worried about strikes him in lap number 1.
Now, a lot of movement here very early on. You can see the car starting to go sideways there. We'll have to see who that is. Starting to go around, that's Mike Conway, the 27, and as he comes back off the track towards the infield, unfortunately, Graham was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Remember, the very first lap, tires are cold, temperatures are a little cooler here today than they have been the past couple of days. Also, cars in front of you really disturb that air in the wings.
Well, it gives us a quick moment to come topside and welcome you. As we said, we're trying to speed everything up because weather is approaching. But let's talk about the championship update for you so you know exactly what's happening as we come into today's race. The man who's sitting on point right now up front, Dario Franchitti, is leading Will Power in the championship chase. Now, that's based right now as we are getting ready to go back to green flag racing as they are going matching up side by side, and there's Will Power right now shown in 13th position, so he's got a lot of distance to make up as we now get ready to go back to green flag racing. They're trying to hustle this baby up. In fact, the cars are already into turn number 3, and as they come through turn number 4, side by side, here they go, green flag in the air, and we're back racing. And we got another spin. Elio Castroneves, he is now into the very same area where Graham Rahal ended up, but he may be able to keep it running.
Well, if he does, he obviously has some damage on the rear of the car.
Turn 2 has been treacherous so far.
Well, there again, when you're trying to get on the gas coming off the bank, remember, it's got a little bit more banking in here now than it did previously. Charlie Kimball was very lucky there because he just got missed by the number 3 of Elio Castroneves, and you saw the right rear damage that seems to have appeared from hitting the Armco barrier. All right. Let's ride along with Elio and watch this.
All clear.
See here him getting on the gas just a bit too soon. The tires are not up to temperature, Marty. Same scenario as Mike Conway.
On board with J.R. Hildebrand.
man did a great job. Great job there.
All right, let's talk about tires. Rick, what are you hearing down there in pit lane?
Boy, what I've been hearing from a lot of teams are cold tires are a problem. Danica came on the radio a little while ago. She said there's no question the temperature of the tires is the issue. They were just warning Ryan Hunter-Reay the same thing. Don't try to push too hard until the tires come up to temperature. They think that's the problem right now.
Well, you notice the 22 of Thomas Scheckter. He has taken over for the injured Justin Wilson. He is restarting in the 6th position. He's been one of the few that has been able to make it stick. He has improved 12 positions in these first sets of laps. And we're back to green flag racing again with Dario up front. And look at Scheckter on the high side again.
Reminds me of what Tony Kanaan does many times on starts and restarts.
Side by side with James Hinchcliffe, and Hinchcliffe coming off a great run. Didn't get the final result he wanted back at Mid-Ohio last week, but he showed what he can do at the wheel of the car, and right now he is up front in that pack as well. Hinchcliffe in the 4th position. Scheckter now up to 3rd. He is fighting it out with Oriol Servia.
Oh, tried to sneak underneath him, ended up having to cut across the back of the bow, and in that scenario he ended up losing the air. He'll take another shot at it here going on the high side.
Settle in, start hitting your mark.
And Hinchcliffe, remember, the rookie from Toronto, Canada, a great driver. Really going to go to school here with the 22 of Scheckter now getting past him, Marty.
Let's get an update on Thomas Scheckter. Rick DeBrule.
This is really interesting because, to be honest with you, all weekend long, this team has struggled with this car. In fact, during the morning warm-up, he said, I think the only reason we're starting to improve is because the track is getting worse. It just happens to be coming to us. Suddenly, they are on fire. Now, I will tell you that Thomas Scheckter came on the radio a little while ago and said, you know, if these restarts keep up like this, I'm going to be leading in no time.
Check in on the race leader, Dario Franchitti. His lead is 5 seconds over James Hinchcliffe.
Feels like a little understeer through the middle of 3 and 4, but then a little bit loose on the whole thing. And 4.
Complaining about understeer going through 3 and 4, but we've noticed when we've been riding on board with him, it looks like maybe then the car catches in the middle of the turn. His Servia is now in for service. Jamie Little.
James Hinchcliffe is in so far, having the best race he's had all year in the IndyCar Series. He has one fast race car, says it is pretty good, no changes expected. 4 tires, they're gonna fill it up with fuel. He's the first guy to come down pit road as sprinkles are starting to fall, guys.
Danica Patrick brings it in. When I talked to her before this race, she was saying she needed to survive this. She's doing a great job so far.
Well, you saw Hinchcliffe as they were having problems. Let's check in with Gary Gerald.
Waiting for Scott Dixon. He has the luxury of the first pit box, but this car clearly hasn't been working the way it was in the warm-ups earlier today. They have not gone with scuffed tires. They're going with stickers. He'll have a 40-foot pit box to come into. Compare that to the 35-foot pit box at the last event at Mid-Ohio.
Race leader is coming in. Dario Franchitti peels off here as we are working lap number 72. And he makes his way that long stretch. Each of these pit boxes 40 feet in length. Rick DeBrule, you've got it.
Well, they were concerned a little bit. He says as the race goes along, it's actually getting a little loose. But overall, they're very happy with it. Early on, he was saying it was fine to get a nice clean pit stop and get him away.
7.3 seconds, a good stop.
Very strong. Probably some tire pressure adjustments done on that car for him as we see Dixon starting to come in now. As we started to say, the 10 car started to get loose in the middle of the turn.
And he's coming to Gary Gerald.
Focus on flare.
Routine service for Scott Dixon. He had hoped to be a contender. He wanted to take the momentum of the victory in Mid-Ohio to a podium finish or better, and a close call. Kimball cut right in front of him getting out of the pits, but he got away cleanly. Rick.
J.R. Hildebrand clean so far in this race. Important, brings it in. They get a nice clean stop. No major adjustments. He's away.
7.4 seconds, a good stop for the National Guard team. Ryan Briscoe's in, Jamie.
These Penske cars have been struggling this weekend, but the 6 of Ryan Briscoe has been the best. No changes expected. He's pretty happy with the car. He fell back a few positions, but was able to retain a couple. His teammate, the 12 of Will Power, he is so frustrated. You guys nailed it. He has just had an awful weekend. Only the second time in a year and a half he's qualified outside of the top 5. He said no changes. They're just lacking speed, and that is the problem with the Penske cars this weekend, Marty.
Yellow on the track as we have moisture in the air, and it is falling, unfortunately, on this racetrack. So we are going to slow things down after a quick round of pit stops. All right, pace car lights are out. We are getting ready to go back to green flag racing, and then as we do, we'll come through turns 3 and 4, and we'll tell you that this green flag restart will head into the IZOD speed zone. Enjoy the lap. The side-by-side restarts. These guys and gals have been getting better at it every race. That was exciting. And there you see Scott Dixon in that number 9 car right now. He is running in 6th position. Right ahead of him is James Hinchcliffe, and right behind him is Ryan Briscoe and J.R. Hildebrand. That Acorn number 18 is James Jakes. He is lap traffic, and there goes the 9 underneath Hinchcliffe. So Scott Dixon, he wasn't kidding around. He says, let's go back to racing.
Probably made some change in that pit stop we had.
Trouble. The 82 of Tony Kanaan, the 22 of Thomas Scheckter. A big contact. And Tony is on his lid.
Okay, Tony? Yeah.
He is okay. We also have a car up into the wall in turn number 4. Vehicle that will take it back. Here's a replay.
Oh, Tony on the low side, and then what's ended up happening with Marco, he ends up just getting squeezed from Thomas Scheckter, the 22 machine on the right-hand side, and so he ends up then getting into Tony, which then starts all this off, and that's why you saw the right front suspension damage on the 26 Sapple machine of Marco Andretti.
And there's no safer barrier on that inside portion of the wall, but thank goodness those tires were there. That absorbed a lot of that shock.
See the car sliding around, getting into the tires and up and over. Now, if the safer barrier was there, Marty, I would probably say that the car would not have gone on its roof. It probably would have just hit the safer barrier and then come back out towards the grass area. Now, here you can see the nose starting to get underneath the 22 machine of Thomas Scheckter, who's subbing for Justin Wilson. And then it comes back down, and then when it gets into the tires, both cars, just the angle of the 82 machine of Tony Kanaan just gets caught and ends up turning over.